Commander Abigail Cole stood on the bridge of the Valkyrie. The massive carrier had remained hidden beneath the Atlantic Ocean for 15 years. Built in sections transported secretly assembled underwater by engineers who would never see the sky again. Now it rose to the surface, water cascading from its hull, its weapon systems activating, its fighters launching toward the crystal ships that filled the sky. The Valkyrie was not alone. 11 other carriers surfaced worldwide, each named after mythological protectors, each carrying advanced weaponry, each crewed by people who had trained their entire lives for this moment. The Phoenix rising from the Pacific, the Titan emerging from the Indian Ocean, the Guardian surfacing near Antarctica. Their existence had been humanity's most closely guarded secret. Abigail watched the tactical display. The disruption field created by Aegis operators worldwide had broken collective coordination. Their ships moved erratically, their attacks less precise. This was the advantage Earth needed. The moment they had prepared for launch, all fighters, she ordered, maximum thrust. No holding back. The fighter craft shot from carrier launch tubes. Their design incorporated elements reversed, engineered from alien technology recovered over decades. They moved with impossible agility, their weapons capable of penetrating crystal hulls, their pilots linked to targeting systems that predicted enemy movements. In her neural command center, Samantha felt the battle. Through countless sensors, she directed defense platforms worldwide, coordinated with other operators, guided the attack. The neural interface burned through her body. Systems reported her vital signs weakening. The human mind was not designed to channel such power for extended periods. But she held on from Prometheus base. General Blackwood monitored the counteroffensive. Success would mean survival. Failure would require the Thanatos Protocol. The deep reactors stood ready to unleash a pulse that would destroy all electronic systems in orbit, including the neural link. Including Samantha. We always knew the cost, Eleanor whispered. The price of survival in the skies above Earth. Human fighters engaged, collective vessels, the disruption field preventing the crystal ships from coordinating perfectly. Human pilots linked to prediction systems reacted faster, anticipated movements better. The invaders who expected easy harvest now faced desperate defenders willing to sacrifice everything aboard. The mothership Lynn Porter and her Lyran allies fought through security systems. The massive vessel contained the central consciousness that guided all collective activities, the core that controlled the terraforming engines poisoning Earth atmosphere. If they could reach it, they could upload the corruption sequence the Lyrans had developed over centuries of captivity, a code that would paralyze the hive mind temporarily. They moved through crystal corridors, past stasis chambers containing specimens, from harvested worlds past processing centers that converted raw materials into new collective vessels, past power cores that pulsed with energy beyond human understanding. The Lyrans knew the way. They had been planning this moment for generations, their own revenge for their fallen world on Earth. The battle turned desperate. The collective adapted to the disruption field. Their ships regained some coordination, their attacks becoming focused again. They targeted the carriers specifically, understanding. Now these vessels represented the greatest threat. Crystal fighters rained energy weapons on the Valkyrie, its shields weakening under sustained assault. Commander Cole ordered evasive maneuvers. The massive carrier could not dodge like a fighter, but its defense systems engaged intercepting crystal vessels, drawing fire away from population centers. The other carriers followed similar tactics, creating a defensive perimeter around major evacuation routes, buying time for civilians to reach underground sanctuaries. In her neural center, Samantha monitored atmospheric composition. The terraforming engines had already changed 20% of Earth air. Oxygen levels dropping, toxic compounds increasing. At this rate, the surface would be uninhabitable within hours. The underground sanctuaries would save millions, but billions would die if the invasion continued. The counteroffensive must succeed. There was no alternative. Through the neural network, Samantha coordinated with other operators. They refined the plan to reconfigure the defense grid, the quantum entanglement field that would trap the collective consciousness. It would require perfect timing. All operators acting simultaneously. All systems functioning at maximum capacity time was running out. The carriers took heavy damage. The Titan sinking back into the Indian Ocean. Its mission complete. Its crew sacrificed. The Phoenix, losing shield generators. Its fighters continuing to launch even as the carrier burned. The disruption, field weakening as Aegis platforms fell under collective fire. Samantha felt each loss. Each destroyed platform, each fallen fighter, each carrier damaged. The neural link made the pain personal. She saw through cameras as civilians rushed toward sanctuary entrances. As the sky darkened with crystal ships, as the air thinned from terraforming engines, she felt her body failing. The neural load too great for human physiology to bear much longer in Prometheus Base. General Blackwood watched Samantha's vital signs deteriorating. The neural interface burning through her nervous system, hour by hour, minute by minute. The other operators worldwide showing similar decline. They were dying to keep the network functioning, to maintain the disruption field, to give Earth forces their chance. It was always the calculation, Eleanor thought, the few sacrificed to save the many. The terrible arithmetic of survival aboard the mothership. Lynn and the Lyrans reached the central core, a massive crystal structure, pulsing with light. The collective consciousness. The hive mind that guided all invader activities. Security systems activated. Crystal drones converging on their position. The final defenses protecting the core. The Lyrans moved with purpose. Their bodies adapted during centuries of captivity to resist drone attacks. They created an opening. Lynn rushed forward. The corruption sequence ready. A code that would freeze the collective consciousness, just for moments, but long enough. For the Aegis network to establish the entrapment field. On the Valkyrie Bridge, Commander Cole received the signal. The mothership defenses focusing on internal threat. The moment to strike, fighters could not penetrate the crystal hull, but a carrier could. The Valkyrie engines fired at maximum thrust, on a collision course with the mothership, a suicide run to create an entry point for the main assault team. Abigail felt the massive vessel accelerate. The crew knew the plan. They had trained for this sacrifice. The Valkyrie would not survive, but it would create the breach needed. The final gambit in a desperate battle in her neural center. Samantha sensed the Valkyrie approach. She calculated trajectories, estimated damage patterns, directed remaining fighters to prepare for the breach. The carrier accelerated toward the mothership. Its forward sections reinforced for impact, its weapons firing continuously to weaken the target area. Impact in 30 seconds. The ship computer announced crew to evacuation, pods assault teams to breach positions. The collision shook the mothership. The Valkyrie forward hull disintegrated on impact, but it achieved its purpose, creating a massive breach in the crystal structure. The carrier engines detonated and controlled. Sequence expanding the breach. Assault teams launched from the broken vessel, racing toward the opening Marines in advanced armor, armed with weapons designed specifically to fight crystal beings. At the same moment, Lynn reached the central core. She fought past the final drones. With Lyran help, she connected to the system. The corruption sequence began uploading. The hive mind registered the threat. Too late. The code executed. The collective consciousness froze. For precious seconds, the terraforming engines paused. The crystal fighters stopped mid-flight. The entire invasion force paralyzed temporarily. Now Samantha thought through the neural network. Across the planet, the Aegis operators executed their final move. The defense grid reconfigured, projecting a quantum entanglement field, not to destroy but to capture, to create a prison for the collective consciousness, a loop from which it could not escape. The field expanded from Earth atmosphere to orbit, encompassing the mothership, the crystal vessels, the terraforming engines, everything. The collective consciousness attempted to break free. The paralysis from Lynn, corruption sequence ending. But the entrapment field held, the quantum loop established. The hive mind caught in its own communication patterns, unable to issue new commands, unable to continue the invasion. Across Earth orbit, crystal ships went dormant, their inner light dimming, their weapons silent, the terraforming engines shutting down, the attack ending not with destruction but with containment. In her neural center, Samantha felt the victory, but also the cost. Her body failing, the neural load too great for human physiology. The other operators worldwide in similar condition. They had won. They had saved Earth, but the price was high. So high in Prometheus base, General Blackwood watched as the Thanatos protocol powered down. No longer needed the deep reactors returning to standby. The pulse that would have destroyed everything, averted. Earth had survived. The invasion contained the war machine that humanity had built over decades had proven sufficient, but not without sacrifice, not without cost. The carriers that remained gathered, the dormant crystal vessels, human forces securing the mothership. Lynn, and the Lyrans found by assault teams, the specimens from other worlds freed from stasis, the knowledge of 17 harvested. 1 month after the invasion, Earth began to heal. The terraforming engines neutralized, the atmosphere slowly returning to normal. The extraction sites filled with soil and planted with fast-growing trees. The crystal structures repurposed into research, facilities into monuments, into reminders of what almost happened. In a medical bay deep within Prometheus base, Samantha Winters opened her eyes. The neural load had nearly killed her. Her body changed at the cellular level. Her mind expanded by connection to the Aegis network. She was not the same person who had sat in the interface chair weeks ago. She was something more, something different. General Blackwood stood beside her bed. The old woman looked tired, the weight of decades of secrecy finally lifting from her shoulders. The Project Aegis leadership transitioning now to a public international committee. The hidden preparations revealed to a grateful world. You succeeded, Eleanor said. The quantum entrapment field holds the collective consciousness, remains contained. We have time now. Time to understand them. Time to prepare if others like them exist. Samantha nodded her head. She still felt echoes of the neural connection. Still sensed the defense grid, though no longer controlling it. The other operators had survived too, changed as she was. Their minds linked in ways that transcended normal human connection. They shared thoughts across continents without technology, without effort. A new kind of human evolution forced by crisis. The underground, sanctuaries emptied as the surface became safe again. People returned to cities, to homes, to begin rebuilding. The carriers that survived the battle patrolled Earth orbit, protecting against any remaining threat. The fighters incorporating more captured. Technology becoming more advanced each day. Human innovation combining with alien science. Creating something new. Olivia. Reeves led the research team studying the dormant crystal vessels, understanding their propulsion systems, their energy sources, their communication methods. Each discovery advancing human science by decades. The crystal material itself, unlike anything on Earth. Programmable at the molecular level, capable of storing energy, information, consciousness. Lynn Porter worked with the Lyrans and other liberated species, the survivors of worlds the collective had harvested before Earth. Together they established communication protocols, a galactic warning system, so no other world would face harvest unprepared. They sent signals to nearby stars announcing Earth victory, offering alliance against threats that might still exist in the darkness between worlds. Commander Abigail Cole received command of the new Earth Defense Fleet. The carriers joined by vessels constructed using collective technology. The Valkyrie rebuilt as flagship. The crew who sacrificed themselves in the collision honored as heroes. Their names inscribed on memorials worldwide. The fleet expanded, prepared. Not just to defend Earth, but to explore. To reach out to find allies among stars. The collective mothership transformed into a space station, a center for research, for diplomacy, for coordination with other survivors. Earth inherited not just technology, but responsibility. The knowledge that, They were not alone in the universe, that other civilizations had fallen, that humanity had succeeded where others failed. In her recovery room, Samantha watched news feeds from around the world. Nations that had fought each other for centuries now worked together, united by common threat, by shared victory. The underground sanctuaries repurposed as research centers, as universities, as hospitals. The technology developed for war now serving peace. General Blackwood showed her the final phase of Project Aegis long-range vessels, built in secret, designed to carry humans beyond the solar system. Colony ships, sleeper ships, generation ships, prepared over decades for the worst-case scenario. If Earth had fallen, if the surface had become uninhabitable, if the Thanatos Protocol had been necessary, we planned for every possibility. Eleanor explained, even defeat. We would have survived as a species, even if Earth was lost. Now those vessels would serve exploration, not evacuation. Their engines enhanced with collective technology. Their range extended. Their purpose changed from desperate flight to bold adventure. The stars within reach at last, the quantum entrapment field became a research priority. Understanding how it worked, how it contained the collective consciousness. Scientists studied the loop. The patterns of thought trapped within the hive mind that had harvested 17 worlds before Earth. They discovered something unexpected. The collective was not natural, not evolved. It had been created long ago by a civilization now gone. A tool that outlived its makers, that continued its programming without purpose, without understanding, just endless harvest, endless expansion. The knowledge brought questions about artificial intelligence, about creation, about responsibility. The beings that made the collective were like humans, creators of tools that could outlive them. The parallel unmistakable. The warning clear. World leaders gathered at the United Earth Council. The new chamber built from crystal material salvaged from invasion vessels. The walls glowing with soft light. The ceiling showing real-time images of Earth orbit, of the defense grid, of the dormant collective ships. The question before them simple but profound. What next? Some argued for isolation, for focusing inward, rebuilding, Earth strengthening defenses, preparing for the next invasion. Others pushed for exploration, for reaching out to stars, for finding allies, survivors, others who had faced the collective or similar threats. The debate continued for days, perspectives shifting as new information emerged from research teams. Samantha attended the council session, her new status as Aegis Prime operator giving her voice weight. She had seen through countless sensors, felt the neural network spanning Earth had touched the quantum entrapment field containing the collective. She had perspective few others could claim. We cannot hide, she told the council. We cannot pretend the universe is empty or safe. The collective found us, others might too. Our strength comes not from isolation but from connection, not just between humans but between worlds, between survivors. We reached to the stars once in fear, preparing for the worst. Now we should reach in hope. The council voted the Earth Defense Fleet would expand its mission, changing from purely protective to exploratory. The carriers would remain in orbit, guarding Earth. The new vessels would venture outward, first to the solar system, then to nearby stars. The technology, captured from the collective making such journeys possible. Project Sanctuary transformed too. The underground habitats becoming training centers for space missions, the hydroponic systems testing crops for colony ships, the self-contained environments, perfect practice for long voyages. The engineers who had built humanity last refuge now building its first outposts among stars. Samantha underwent more changes. Her neural architecture altered by Aegis connection. She found she could interface with collective technology directly. Her mind capable of processing vast amounts of data, of communicating across quantum-entangled systems, of sensing patterns others could not perceive. She was offered a new role. Ambassador to the stars, the first human, representative to contact other worlds. Her new vessel incorporated the best of Earth and collective technology. A small ship, fast maneuverable, equipped with communication systems that could reach across light years. The neural interface adapted to her unique physiology. The crew selected for compatibility with her leadership style. Their mission to find other survivors, to establish contact, to create a network of worlds united by common experience. Common threat. Common purpose before departure. Samantha visited the monument built at the first extraction site. The perfect hemisphere now filled with water. A lake surrounded by memorial gardens. The names of those lost in the invasion carved in stone. The date marked as both ending and beginning. The day Earth faced harvest and revealed itself as a war machine. The lesson clear for any who might come after. The collective had invaded Earth for resources, but found instead a world prepared, a civilization united by threat, a species that refused to be harvested. They came expecting easy collection. They found resistance. They found humanity. As her ship rose from Earth atmosphere, Samantha felt connection still, to the planet below, to the people who had built Project Aegis, to the future they would create together. She had been born for this moment, selected before birth. Neural architecture, compatible with the interface, the perfect bridge between human and machine. Between Earth and stars, the quantum drive engaged. The stars shifted around her vessel. The journey began. Earth became a bright point behind them, then simply one star among many. The human voyage into the wider universe, not in desperate flight, but in strength and unity, in hope. The invaders had come for resources, but they awakened something more humanity as it could be, united, purposeful, reaching outward. The war machine transformed into exploration vessel, into diplomatic mission, into bridge between survivors. The stars waited, and humanity, no longer alone, no longer unprepared, no longer bound to one world, answered their call. The Aegis network came fully online. Across Earth, hidden weapons platforms revealed themselves. Ordinary infrastructure transformed, revealing their true purpose. Solar farms opened like flowers, showing massive ion cannons beneath telecommunications. Towers extended energy projectors. Communication satellites combined into orbital defense grids. Through it all, Samantha Winters guided the system. Her mind connected to the vast network. Her thoughts directing the defense. Her body remained in the chair at Prometheus base. But her consciousness extended across the planet. She saw through countless sensors. She controlled weapons with a thought. More collective ships shattered under concentrated fire. The invaders had not expected resistance, not like this. They had harvested 17 worlds before. None had fought back with such coordination, such preparation. The collective mothership launched atmospheric scrubbers, massive crystal structures that began removing oxygen from the air around major cities. People gasped for breath as the air thinned. Emergency services struggled to evacuate civilians. Millions fled underground into subway systems, shelters, mines, anywhere to escape the thinning air on the surface. General Blackwood watched the battle unfold on monitors in Prometheus base. "We knew this would happen," she told Olivia. Project Aegis included evacuation plans, shelters built to house millions. They can make the surface uninhabitable, but we prepared for that too on screens. They watched the collective response, kinetic rods falling from orbit, destroying military bases, power plants, communication centers. The surface became a battlefield. Cities burned, extraction sites expanded. The crystal invaders showed no mercy, no hesitation in their resource collection. In her neural command center, Samantha felt every loss, every destroyed defense platform, every fallen city. She guided the remaining weapons with growing skill. The neural interface became more natural as hours passed. She directed energy shields to protect evacuation routes, focused attacks on harvester ships rather than fighters, prioritized human survival over infrastructure preservation. She discovered she was not alone. Other Aegis operators had activated. Worldwide, Lieutenant Kara Murphy in Dublin, Captain Nina Taylor in Nairobi, Dr. Alice Jang in Singapore. all women with the rare genetic marker, all now connected through the neural network, their minds joining with Samantha, strengthening the defense. Coordination. Together they discovered something critical. The collective operated as a hive mind. Their ships communicated through quantum entanglement, a connection that could be disrupted if Earth defense systems reconfigured to broadcast on specific frequencies. Samantha sent the insight through the neural network. Aegis operators worldwide began adjusting their systems. The defense grid could become a disruption field. If they timed it correctly, they could break the collective coordination temporarily. Give Earth forces a chance to strike at the mothership. Aboard that mothership, Lynn Porter made a discovery. The crystal beings kept specimens from Earth and from other worlds. Beings in stasis chambers preserved, studied, some still alive, she found. Creatures unlike anything known to Earth. Science victims from planets the collective had harvested before. One chamber held beings that looked almost human. But with subtle differences, they came from a world called Lyra. The third planet, the collective, had harvested. Their civilization had fallen quickly, not prepared as Earth had been. Some survivors kept for biological research. Lynn managed to communicate with them. They had been in stasis for centuries, watching helplessly as the collective moved from world to world. The Lyrans knew the invaders better than anyone. They understood their weaknesses. The crystal beings feared extreme temperature changes. Certain radiation frequencies disrupted their molecular structure. Most importantly, the Lyrans knew the collective central consciousness location. The information had to reach Earth defenders. Lynn found access to the mothership systems. With help from the Lyrans, she sent data packets hidden in the collective-owned communication signals. Information about vulnerabilities, about mothership layout, about the central consciousness in Prometheus base. Olivia detected the transmissions. She recognized them as intentionally corrupted data, hidden information. She worked to decode the packets. While she worked, General Blackwood revealed another secret of Project Aegis. The evacuation shelters are Phase 1, she explained. Showing Olivia plans for underground cities, self-sustaining habitats that could support millions. The surface might be lost, but humanity would survive below Project Sanctuary. We called it built over decades, stocked with supplies, with manufacturing capabilities, with everything needed for civilization to continue. On screens they watched as civilian volunteers implemented sanctuary protocols worldwide. Underground bunkers opened, accepting refugees. Hydroponic farms activated. Water purification systems came online. Power generators buried deep beneath the surface hummed to life. Meanwhile, the Aegis operators prepared their counteroffensive. Samantha coordinated with her counterparts worldwide. They would create a disruption field targeting collective quantum communication. Then they would strike at the mothership directly. But the mothership launched a new weapon. Terraforming engines designed to make Earth atmosphere compatible with collective mining operations. The air would become toxic to human life. Within hours, the surface would be uninhabitable. The collective would strip the planet too. Its core. General Blackwood revealed the final phase of Project Aegis, the Thanatos Protocol, deep within Earth mantle. Massive reactors could channel the planet electromagnetic field into a pulse that would disable all electronic systems in orbit. The pulse would destroy the collective fleet, but would also devastate Earth infrastructure. Kill anyone connected to Aegis neural systems, including Samantha and all operators worldwide. It was the last resort. If the counteroffensive failed, if the mothership could not be stopped, the Thanatos Protocol would save Earth. But at terrible cost. The time had come. Samantha felt the other operators through the neural network. They were ready. They would strike together. The disruption field activated. Aegis platforms worldwide broadcast on frequencies that interfered with collective quantum communication. The crystal ships faltered, their perfect coordination broken, their movements becoming erratic. Now, Samantha thought, the counteroffensive begins. Across the planet hidden beneath ocean floors, massive carriers rose to the surface. 12 vessels built in absolute secrecy. Dreadnoughts carrying advanced fighter craft. weapons developed from alien technology, recovered over decades. The Atlantic Fleet, led by Commander Abigail Cole aboard the carrier Valkyrie, launched first. The fighters engaged collective vessels in the stratosphere. The neural-linked pilots reacted at superhuman speeds. Their craft incorporated elements of alien technology, making them capable of matching crystal fighters in maneuverability. The battle for Earth orbit began, Earth forces gaining advantage as the disruption field continued to hamper collective coordination. Lynn Porter with her Lyran allies fought through the mothership, sending critical information to Earth defenders. The mothership layout, the location of power cores, shield generators, vulnerable points. The data flowed through corrupted packets, reaching Aegis operators who adjusted their attack strategy. Accordingly, on-Earth General Blackwood prepared the Thanatos Protocol as backup, the final solution if the counteroffensive failed. The pulse generators deep in the mantle powered up, ready to unleash destruction that would save Earth, but devastate its defenders. The battle reached its peak. Human carriers launched everything they had. Fighters, submarines, ground forces, all attacking collective positions worldwide. The disruption field holding the crystal ships falling one by one. But the mothership remained protected by layers of defenses. The terraforming engines continued their work, changing Earth atmosphere, poisoning the surface in her neural command center. Samantha made a discovery: the defense grid could be reconfigured again, not to destroy the collective, but to contain them. The quantum entanglement that linked their consciousness could be turned against them, creating a prison. A loop from which they could not escape. It would require perfect timing. All Aegis operators working in absolute coordination. But it could work. It could end the invasion without destroying Earth, without sacrificing those connected to the neural network. Samantha sent the plan through the neural link. The other operators responded. They would try. They would risk everything on this final gambit. As the battle raged in orbit, as the terraforming engines poisoned the air, as the carriers fought against overwhelming odds, the defenders of Earth prepared their final move. Samantha Winters woke to the sound of military helicopters landing outside her apartment. She had expected the call. Her training as a Special Forces major prepared her for crisis. But nothing prepared her for what came next. A team, in black uniforms, arrived at her door. They carried no identifying marks. They simply said she was needed and she must come now. The helicopter took her deep into the Rocky Mountains, to a place that did not exist on any map. When the doors opened, she found herself inside a massive cave system transformed into a high-tech base. Scientists and military personnel moved with purpose. Screens showed the crystal ships in orbit, showed the mining operations beginning worldwide. An older woman approached her general. Eleanor Blackwood retired 15 years ago, or so the public records claimed. She looked at Samantha with knowing eyes. "We have been waiting for you, Major Winters," the general said. "You were selected before you were born." Samantha followed the general through security doors, each requiring more complex clearance. Finally, they entered a chamber unlike anything she had ever seen. The walls glowed with circuits that seemed almost alive. A chair sat in the center, connected to machines that hummed with power. "The truth is bigger than you know," the general explained. "We detected the first signals from their kind in 2032. We found fragments of their technology in the ICE operation. Aegis began that day." The general showed her videos of secret construction, projects spanning decades, trillions of dollars hidden from public view. Satellite launches disguised as communication systems, power plants that concealed weapon platforms. Everything built in plain sight, but with hidden purpose. "You have a rare genetic marker." Samantha the general continued. "Your neural pathways can interface with the system we built. We selected 500 people worldwide with this trait. You are our weapon against them." Samantha stared at the neural interface chair. Her throat felt dry. She thought of her childhood, how the military had always been interested in her, how aptitude tests had guided her career. Had her entire life been preparation for this moment? Meanwhile, across the world, The collective continued their mining operations. They established processing centers at each extraction site. Crystal structures grew from the ground, converting earth materials into forms they could use. People who lived too close disappeared, taken for study. Olivia Reeves worked frantically in the Prometheus Base laboratory. She studied the limited data they had on the collective. She needed to understand their weaknesses, their biology. If such crystalline beings even had biology in the way humans understood it. Her team analyzed fragments collected from smaller scout ships. They appear to be silicon-based, Olivia told General Blackwood. Their bodies contain quantum structures that our science barely understands. They might be artificial. The general nodded, not surprised. These beings arrived exactly as the project had predicted. Their mining techniques matched computer models created decades ago. How did you know, Olivia asked, they would come? Like this? We had help, the general said, leading her to a secure vault deep within the mountain. Inside, a crystal fragment pulsed with light similar to the invaders but somehow different. It had been discovered in Antarctica in 2029. It contained warnings, a message from another world that had faced the collective outside. The base, the situation grew worse. The collective established a perimeter around each mining site. Crystal towers rose, creating energy fields, their purpose unknown but ominous. Military forces that approached disappeared. Weapons had no effect on the crystal ships. The public panicked. Governments struggled to maintain order inside Prometheus Base. Samantha underwent preparation for neural linking. The technicians explained the process would connect her consciousness to the Aegis Defense Network. She would become the human mind, guiding the most advanced weapons humanity had built. She would think and the system would respond. But the process might kill her. The neural load could burn out her mind. I understand the risks, Samantha said as they connected her to the chair. I volunteer across the planet. Hidden systems waited for activation. Ordinary satellites contained energy weapons. Undersea cables concealed sonic disruptors. Power plants housed shield generators. All connected, all waiting for the command to reveal their true purpose. The neural link process began. Samantha screamed as the connection formed. Her consciousness expanded. She could feel the network, the orbital platforms, the ground-based weapons, everything connected through her mind. The pain nearly overwhelmed her, but she held on, focused on the threat. The invaders who thought Earth defenseless. Meanwhile, the collective mothership captured humans for study. Olivia had been right. They needed to understand the dominant species on the planet they harvested. Their drones selected individuals with scientific knowledge, among them Dr. Lynn Porter, a climatologist who had been monitoring the Antarctic extraction site. Lynn found herself in a crystal chamber aboard the mothership. Other humans there too. Scientists, engineers, experts from various fields, all confused, all afraid. The crystal walls pulsed with light. Communication, perhaps, or simply power flowing through alien technology. A larger crystal being entered. The chamber. This one different from the others. More complex, more individual. Looking at the humans with what might have been curiosity. Why do you mine our world? Lynn asked. Gathering her courage. The crystal being made a sound like chimes. Its response came through some unseen translation system. We harvest, we grow, we expand. The being explained. We have done this 17 times before. Your world has resources. We take them. Your species is noted, but not relevant. Lynn felt cold fear, the casual dismissal of humanity, the complete lack of empathy. She realized they faced not invaders but harvesters, beings that saw Earth as nothing more than materials to collect in Prometheus Base. Samantha completed the neural linking process, her mind now connected to Earth defense systems. She opened eyes that glowed with inner light. The same monitors showed the collective ships continuing their mining operations, unaware of what waited beneath the surface. It is time, General Blackwood said. The order has been given. Activate. Aegis Samantha focused her thoughts. The command flowed through her neural connection. Across the planet, hidden systems awakened. Solar farms revealed massive weapon platforms beneath false panels. Telecommunications, satellites combined, forming defense networks. Ocean platforms rose from the depths, showing their true purpose. The first counterattack began. A solar farm in the Australian outback transformed, revealing a massive ion cannon. The weapon fired. A beam of concentrated energy struck a collective harvester ship over the Pacific. The crystal vessel shattered into thousands of pieces. The human defense network had made its first move. The collective responded immediately. Their mothership launched fighters, crystal vessels, that moved with impossible speed. They targeted what they now recognized as weapon platforms. Kinetic strikes hit military bases, communications centers, power plants. But more human weapons revealed themselves. Missile silos hidden in mountains, energy. Shields protecting major cities. A battle for Earth had begun, and the invaders who came for easy resources suddenly faced a planet that had been preparing for war for 25 years in orbit. The collective mothership altered its approach. They had not expected resistance not like this. They had harvested 17 worlds before. None had been ready, none had known they were coming, but Earth had prepared. And now the collective faced something they had not encountered before, a world that fought back. Kate Harper stood at the Lunar Observatory control panel, her eyes fixed on the radar screen. Her heart beat faster as she watched the unidentified objects approach Earth. The year was 2057, and humanity had just started to recover from decades of climate disasters. Now these strange vessels appeared from deep space without warning. She reached for the communication system. This was not a drill. Something big was coming, and Earth needed to prepare. Kate sent the alert to Earth Command with all the data she had collected. The objects moved with purpose, their flight patterns too precise to be natural phenomena, too organized to be space debris. They were ships, and they were heading straight for Earth. The United Earth Council gathered in their underground chamber in Geneva. The room buzzed with nervous energy as government leaders from all continents faced the largest screens on the wall. The feed from space showed crystal-like vessels now in orbit around Earth. They glowed with an inner light that pulsed in patterns. Kate noted they used technology far beyond what humans had developed. A beam of light shot down from the largest ship and formed into a figure in the center of the council chamber. The being glowed with the same light as the ship's. Its body looked like clear crystal with complex structures moving inside it. Called itself the ambassador from the collective. We come in peace. The translation system rendered its strange sounds. We seek cultural exchange and mutual benefit, the ambassador said. Its voice sounded almost musical. The crystal being gestured with limbs that seemed to form and reform as needed. We have traveled far and wish to learn of your world. Olivia Reeves sat quietly in the back of the chamber. As the chief scientist studying alien life, she watched with trained eyes. The visitors asked strange questions. They wanted to know about metal deposits deep in the crust, about rare earth elements, about defense systems, Olivia noticed. They never asked about art or history or how humans lived. They asked about what Earth had not, who lived on it. During a break in the talks, she approached Council President Diane Mills with her concerns. These beings are not here for friendship, she whispered. Their scans focus only on resources, not people, but the president waved her off. We cannot risk offense. Dr. Reeves Mills said, This is first contact, the most important moment in human history. Your paranoia is noted, but not helpful. That night, Olivia could not sleep. She reviewed the data from global monitoring stations. The visitors had deployed smaller craft. These did not announce themselves. They moved secretly, taking samples from remote areas, scanning deep into the Earth. Something felt wrong. The next morning, alarms blared worldwide. Olivia rushed to the command center. Satellite images showed a perfect half-sphere carved from the Siberian wilderness, 50 square miles simply gone. Trees, soil, rock, everything scooped out with surgical precision. The research station nearby showed no signs of life. Similar reports came in from Antarctica, the Sahara, and deep ocean sites. The mining had begun without permission, without warning. Collective ships descended through the atmosphere, in greater numbers now. No longer hiding their purpose, the ambassador appeared again before the council. This time it did not speak of friendship. Instead, it stated simple facts. Your world has resources. We require the crystalline being announced. Your species may relocate to designated areas while extraction proceeds. Resistance will increase suffering, but will not prevent collection. We have done this 17 times before. The council chamber erupted in chaos as security forces tried to capture the projection, but their hands passed through it. The ambassador disappeared, leaving only its final message echoing in the room. You have 72 hours to evacuate priority zones. After that, extraction begins regardless of organic presence. Kate watched from the lunar observatory as more ships appeared. Hundreds, now thousands, Earth had 3 days before full-scale invasion. Military forces worldwide mobilized, but their weapons seemed primitive compared to the crystal ships that could carve perfect hemispheres from solid ground without apparent effort. Olivia found herself escorted by security forces to a military transport. No explanation given, only urgency. The helicopter flew through the night toward the mountains. As dawn broke, she saw they approached what looked like an ordinary military base, but as they descended, a section of the mountain itself opened, revealing a massive hidden facility. Inside, a stern-faced woman in a general uniform waited. General Eleanor Blackwood had expected this day. The invasion had triggered something long prepared for. She handed Olivia a tablet with classified files. We knew they would come. General Blackwood said, "This is what we built, Prometheus Base 4. This is what Project Aegis has always been about. Now we activate the defense." Olivia looked at the files in shock. The government had been preparing for alien invasion for decades. They had built weapons hidden in plain sight. Satellites that were actually weapon platforms, power stations, concealing massive energy weapons. Everything connected through a system waiting to be activated. "What do you need me for?" Olivia asked. "The aliens took samples, not just of Earth." General Blackwood replied. "They took people too. We need to understand their biology, their weaknesses. And you, Doctor, are our best chances." The collective began their mining operations across the planet. A hidden system waited to be awakened. Earth appeared vulnerable, but appearances could be deceiving. The invaders came for resources, but they were about to discover they had awakened a war machine.